Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to take some time to revisit World War III. Just had a free weekend for anyone to play, and the public beta, which will also be free to play, is set to launch next month. I haven't played it all that much with any real consistency since my last video covering it, just a few sporadic games here and there, and I thought now is a great time to see what's changed and what the game is looking like as we approach the launch of that public beta. So to quickly summarize World War III for anyone who isn't familiar with the game, it's an indie shooter and it's very much the love child of something like Battlefield 4 and Insurgency Sandstorm. The gunplay, mobility, and TTK feels like it falls somewhere between an arcade shooter and a tactical shooter, and it features larger scale combined arms combat with a massive array of customization available to the player. Right off the bat, a lot of the things that I praised about the game in my original video are still here. Loadout and character customization are still far better than any other first-person shooter on the market, AAA or otherwise. It's really cool to make things your own and fine-tune your loadout to suit your specific playstyle. And I appreciate that all of this customization remains really grounded and loyal to the war setting. I also still love the visual style of the maps. They have this cool kind of Eastern European look to them, especially the ones that are outdoors in cities or near apartments. And they have enough color to give them some visual distinction without looking like it's just unicorn vomit all over the place. While map design from a gameplay perspective isn't perfect, I really am enjoying the art style and general graphical fidelity of this game. I think it's pretty good looking. And while the cartoonish skins in games like Warzone don't really bother me all that much, I do appreciate the just consistent tone of World War III. It feels like a modern war-torn environment, and I just enjoy that gameplay style. The gunplay also feels very good. It's a nice blend of tactical and arcade gameplay, and I really love the detailed breakdown you get when you get killed by somebody. Everything from how much damage each bullet did and where it hit you and who shot you where. It's all there, and it's super cool to have this kind of information. Again, this all still carries over from my initial praise of the game in my last video. There also seemed to be an improvement in matchmaking. If I remember right, you'd get placed into this warm-up style lobby where players were brought into the match to fill up the lobby, and if there weren't enough players, the game would just never start and you'd be in this never-ending perpetual warm-up. I'm happy to say that I haven't experienced the infinite warm-up in the last few sessions I've had with the game over the past week. You just kind of sit in the menu like you do on many other shooters. Fortunately though, a lot of the same issues that I brought up in my last video still hold true. For one, matchmaking takes a lot longer than I'd like. If you're used to something like Call of Duty or even still Battlefield 2042 with its somewhat low player count, you're used to getting into games in under a minute. And when it comes to World War III, I'm often waiting several minutes to get into a lobby, even if I'm not filtering for a specific map or game mode. On top of that, the connection once you're in-game isn't that great. I'm in the Western United States, and from the accents I hear from my matchmate teammates, it seems like I'm getting into a lot of Eastern European servers. As a result, it just feels like I'm losing a lot of gunfights that I shouldn't be, and that I'm generally at more of a disadvantage than I am in many other games. You get a sort of Call of Duty 4 style of connection indicator of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bars, but I feel like I'm almost consistently on a 2-bar setup, and I have really good internet, and in games like, again, Battlefield, my ping typically sits around 20 to 30, so in this game, I'm assuming I'm sitting around 100 ping, and it doesn't feel great to play in. I'm really hoping this improves when the open beta launches and there's a spike in the player base. Maybe the devs can ramp up more servers, and hopefully there will be a larger North American pool of players to really populate those servers and help out with some of these latency problems. It feels really bad to play a game where you feel like you're dying not because of skill problems, but because of connection issues. The animations still also need some work. Sprinting and slide animations look okay, but there's still the really wonky grenade throwing animation where you kind of do this pull back and pause, and then the grenade kind of teleports out of the character's hand in this really strange, jarring way. And there's also still the issue that I talked about in my first video, where if you're tactical sprinting and then you stop for like a half second and then try to move again, you will go right back into a tactical sprint rather than just the normal walking or a regular sprint. Maps also still really have no flow. Whether it's team deathmatch or the objective conquest style mode, I can't even remember what it's called, the maps just really don't feel like they're designed with game flow in mind. They sometimes feel empty, sometimes the action feels hard to come by, and especially in the objective-based mode, 40 players feels like it's just way too low of a player count. Action can be hard to come by, and when you do, sometimes it ends quickly, and then you're just running around. On top of that, capturing objectives in the conquest mode takes way too long. I've had plenty of times where I go to capture an uncontested point and I just kind of check out and browse on my phone for a while. It takes that long. It really takes you out of the game, and it is kind of boring. I also just wish there were more modes. I'd love for something faster and more chaotic, maybe something akin to Breakthrough or Rush from Battlefield, or something like Demolition or Domination from Call of Duty. They obviously don't need to be direct ripoffs of these games, but World War III does like to take a lot of inspiration from other games, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think we just need some things that are a bit faster and more action-oriented. However, for the tactical lovers, I do think this game has a lot of potential for a search and destroy style mode, but I would love to have a single life game mode, kind of like a search and destroy style. Maybe even something like a capture the flag or an escort type game mode, something like that, but I think this game would be well suited for it. And the biggest pain point for this game that still holds true, if you watch any video from any creator that's covering this game, they'll have the same criticism. The audio is still god-awful, and it has not improved since I last covered this in November or December. It's really not good. Some things are just plain silly, like the sound of gunfire in other parts of a building or other parts of the map. They just sound like cheap toy guns. Or the really quick pitter-patter of feet when someone's tactical sprinting, whether it's you or your teammates or enemies. It just sounds hilarious, and at this point, it's not quite game-breaking, but it is just funny. However, there are some game-breaking audio issues, like enemy footsteps making no sound sometimes, even when they're right next to you. Or vehicles, especially vehicles as large as tanks, making little to no sound at all when they're within 20 meters. I have had so many times where I'm capturing an objective, a vehicle rolls up right next to me and just blasts me and kills me, and I didn't hear them coming at all. I still completely disagree with the idea of no gunshots on the minimap. I think that just really slows the pace of this game, and combined with the issue of map design not really having great flow, pacing can sometimes be an issue here. Issues like the audio are really game-breaking, and I hope to really see them addressed before the open beta launches, along with some of these pacing problems. End of the day, it does seem like to me that the team has spent a lot of time improving server stability and less on the gunplay experience, which is okay. We do need consistent servers, but it does make me a bit concerned as we approach the likes of the Modern Warfare 2 launch, a potential rework of Battlefield 2042, and even the success of other indie titles like Ready or Not. World War III has tons of potential, and if they can iron out a lot of these issues, which I don't think are things they can't overcome, I really think this is a compelling product for tactical players and arcade players, and obviously all of the upset Battlefield players, but it all really depends on the Farm 51 at this point. But hey, the game's going to be free to play in March, so give it a shot and develop your own opinion. That about wraps up my thoughts on World War III as we head into the launch in March, but I want to hear from all of you. Are you interested in this game? Have you played it? What are your opinions on it if you spent any time with it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like. And if you didn't, leave a dislike so I know I need to change something. Subscribe if you're new. We have a lot more content on the way and you won't want to miss it. With that, I'd like to thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.